Hello everybody, here we go. We got everything set up. This is a preliminary setup for the Stalingrad 42 game. We have all the units laid out. Here we just do a panoramic view. Now, it's extremely hard. I got to walk. I'm about 4 feet away from the table. As you can see, that's how far I got to get back to get everything on one shot. So we got everything. Here's our little rule book. We have our charts for both sides, everything all ready to go. We have the campaign set up here, when everything starts coming in. This is what starts on the table, and this what starts coming in. And a little more elaborate one for later on for the campaign. That's the caucus one, I guess. Uranus scenario. So, here we go. Let's start up here. Yeah, sorry about the shaky camera, because that's about the only way. You can't put it on a tripod or anything to show the whole thing, because it is too big. You just get chunks and pieces of it. Alright, so what I'm looking at right here is the upper corner. And it does look like this might be the kickoff spot for the Germans. When I'm setting it up, I was looking at everything, and that seems to be a fairly tough nut for the Russians, but there's a lot of elite German units in that area too. So I could see them punching a hole going down that rail line right there and looking for hitting these cities. There is some good Russian troops right there parked, and there's some in reserve back here in this area, but they're held until a certain term when they're released. Now, there's a big, giant hole basically right there. If Germans can punch a hole through there, I can see why the Russians are not too worried about it, because there's no major roads right there. Because if you get to open up the major roads, then you can start punching troops through quickly. And that's what I was looking at. And it's the same way with here. They're holding a fairly good defense right here with that city. And you look at, kind of defensive points, and it's like, all right, they're going to hold it for that city. So it's kind of like with when I was playing the Empires and Alliance game, you could tell where the routes are going to be. You don't have to necessarily defend the entire frontage. You just have to defend road junctions and avenues of approach or railheads, because basically with the troops here, you're going to be going down rail lines to move troops quickly to the front, or you're going down roads to get them to the front quickly. So you're traveling on road surfaces. And when you look at like zones that are open, like, they got a little void right there, I can see going around and bypassing some areas and just taking quick routes. So I'll test that theory when I get going here in the game for my first run through. And it's like, then you got your turn track right here, all set up. I was like looking at Rostov right here. There's now the preliminary thing. Let's move that out of the way. Really, their goal was to get down here to Grozny to get the oil fields, because the Germans, the Romanian oil fields is basically where they got most of their fuel from, or when they use synthetic oils, that they produce themselves. They didn't have a lot of natural resources like that. So to get over here and take the oil fields, that's important for them. And in that case, it's like take Rostov, and then you got this rail line going down through here. That can be a route of, hitting, getting to the oil fields. And the oil fields are actually, way off the map over here. So that whole area is oil fields. And then you got this going across infants right here. And then you got the rail line that connects up to right there. So you got a rail line. So you can move troops in through here and go down this way. Now, if you take Rostov, that is basically a junction right there. So you can then turn around and follow that up to Stalingrad. Stalingrad is a junction point too. There's a reason why they went to Stalingrad. Is that you look at the German forces and where they ended up, it followed rail lines. You know, and naturally, that's how they got there. You know, this whole area here, this is all roads, but this is like a giant void right there without any railheads right there. So if you're moving your supplies down rail lines, it stands the reason why they ended up where they did in World War II. So that is something to think about. So it's going to take some effort upon the German forces just to see how this works out. And then way up there, not that there's really much of a strategic importance up in that corner other than just taking Russian territory and eliminating points where they can bring troops in. You know, there is that aspect of it. So if you cut off a point where they can bring troops, you're forcing them to come in at other areas, you know, be it down in the south. Let's see here. And it's like you have your basic entry points along the edge of the map. So that's going to be how it's going to look at the moment. It's kind of like what I'm looking at. So it'll kick off. I'll probably start today and go with it and just see what happens. And interesting. I just noticed that somehow the map shifted. How did that happen? It was set up just right. The table must be moving or something. All right. I'll be back and we'll continue this and just see where it goes. All right. Talk to you later. Like and subscribe.